Emily Carson had lived in Ashford, Virginia, for only 5 months.
Yes.
She and her husband, Staff Sergeant Luke Carson, had moved after his 4th deployment. Luke was still active duty and elite sniper, with a record no one in the county knew about. Emily drove a gray SUV, 3 air fresheners hanging off the mirror, and a proud military family sticker on the back. On a rainy Tuesday afternoon, she turned onto Willow Creek Road, heading home from the grocery store. Route took her past County Highway Patrol's specifically Officer Trent Mallory, infamous in Ashford for pulling over anyone who wasn't from his side of town. Emily didn't notice his cruiser behind her until the lights flashed. She pulled over immediately. Rain hammered the windshield. She rolled down the window just enough to hear. Officer Mallory stormed up, jaw clenched, eyes lit with hatred he didn't bother to hide. License and registration. Emily reached into her glove box. "You live around here?" he asked, sneering. "Yes, sir. On Mason Drive?" "Doubt it." Emily froze. "Excuse me?" Mallory leaned closer, voice low and spiteful. "You people don't belong in those neighborhoods." Emily's stomach dropped. She wasn't used to this kind of venom. Luke always said Ashford was quiet, safe, good people. Mallory's eyes narrowed. "Step out of the vehicle." "For what reason?" He slammed his fist on the window so hard she flinched. "I said step out." Terrified, she obeyed. Rain soaked through her hoodie instantly, hands where I can see them. He barked, grabbing her wrist, twisting it behind her back. She cried out, I didn't do anything." "You think you can talk back? You military wives think you're special?" "Trash is still trash." Then he shoved her hard. She hit the side of the SUV. The moment she tried to regain her balance, he struck her across the face. The slap echoed through the empty road. Emily collapsed, rainwater mixing with tears. And in her trembling hands, her phone dialed a single number, the emergency contact Luke programmed, 2 countries away. Inside a reinforced shelter on a classified U.S. training range, Staff Sergeant Luke Carson's encrypted satellite phone buzzed. The sound he dreaded. He answered instantly. All he heard was sobbing, rained a man shouting, a thud, and then his wife's voice. "Luke." "He hit me, please." The call cut out. Luke didn't think. Training took over. He informed command he had a family emergency. They didn't question him. Luke was the kind of soldier whose requests were approved first, explained later. Within 14 hours, he was on a military flight home. Within 16 hours, he was standing outside the Ashford Police Department, rain still falling. And within 17 hours, he learned the worst part. Officer Mallory filed a report claiming Emily attacked him. His wife, the gentlest person alive, was being painted as a criminal. Luke's jaw went steel. "This man hurt my wife," he said quietly. "I'm going to prove it." Mallory had chosen the wrong target. Luke wasn't loud. He wasn't reckless. He operated the way only a trained sniper could: silent, strategic, patient. The first place he went was Willow Creek Road. He walked every inch of the scene, found a skid mark from Mallory's cruiser, Emily's earring, beside the SUV tire tracks. Tiny piece of broken police flashlight plastic drag marks where she'd fallen. He photographed everything. Then he requested local traffic cam footage using a military-level FOIA request. Ashford officials were shocked, but they approved it. The footage revealed 2 things. Emily's SUV stopped immediately after Mallory's lights went on. Mallory approached aggressively, hand already on his baton. But what came next made Luke's blood freeze. The recording glitched right as Mallory touched Emily. A 2-minute blackout. Too convenient, too deliberate. Luke now knew it wasn't incompetence. It was a cover-up. When Luke requested to speak with Mallory, he was brushed off. When he tried to file a complaint, they lost the paperwork. When he asked for the dash cam, he was told the file was corrupted. But Luke had met men like Mallory overseas, men who felt powerful hurting the powerless, men who thought no one could touch them. And Luke had also learned something else on deployments. Every corrupt man has a weakness. Mallory's? His gambling debts, credit problems, side income. He didn't want anyone discovering. Luke went deeper. Friends from military intelligence owed him favors. Within days, he had Mallory's secrets mapped out like a mission briefing. And one fact stood out. Mallory had been reported for excessive force 7 times. All victims were women. All cases were dismissed. That was the pattern. Emily was just the first who had someone dangerous enough to fight back. Luke set his plan. He rented an old truck, mounted 2 hidden cameras inside, wired a high-frequency audio recorder under the bumper. Then he did the unthinkable. He positioned the truck right where Mallory patrolled. Then he waited. At 11:42 p.m., Mallory pulled him over. Of course he did. Luke knew he would. Mallory swaggered up to the window, flashlight raised. "You from around here? Looking for trouble? You fit a profile?" Luke kept his voice calm. "I know who you are." Mallory froze. Luke leaned forward slowly. "You hit my wife." Mallory stepped back. "Watch yourself." "No," Luke said quietly. "You watch." Luke pressed a button on his phone. The truck's hidden cameras lit up, recording Mallory's face, his badge, his every move. Mallory panicked. "You can't record me. Can and I am." Mallory reached for his baton. Luke didn't move, but his voice turned lethal. "Pick it up, and you'll never lift your arm again." Mallory hesitated. Luke continued. "I have your past reports, your missing dashcam files, your deleted evidence, your off-book meetings with a certain bar owner who buys stolen goods." Mallory's face drained white. Then Luke delivered the final blow. "I'm giving you a choice. Turn yourself in. Or I turn all of this over to the DOJ, state police, and every news station from here to D.C. Mallory staggered backward. Then he ran, exactly as Luke expected. When a corrupt man panics, he makes mistakes. Mallory tried to destroy his files, tried to erase footage, tried to intimidate his own chief. But Luke had already sent everything to 3 different agencies. By sunrise, the FBI was at the Ashford Police Department. By noon, half the department was under investigation. By evening, Mallory was arrested, charged with assault, evidence destruction, filing false reports, civil rights violations, extortion, and obstruction of justice when they walked him out in cuffs. He looked right at Luke. "You did this." "No," Luke replied. "You did." Weeks later, Emily finally felt safe enough to drive again. Luke attended every court hearing with her, hand in hers. The county issued a formal apology. The DOJ opened a deeper probe. Other victims began coming forward. Emily's assault became the spark that exposed years of corruption. Luke, he received a letter from the governor. "Your actions prevented further abuse and safeguarded the rights of our citizens." But to Luke, the only thing that mattered was Emily. Every morning he made her coffee. Every night he held her hand. Every day he reminded her, "No one hurts you without answering to me." The cop thought he was unstoppable, until he crossed the wife of the quiet soldier who could hit a target from a mile away, hit back without firing a single shot.